when our guests come out, I want you to go absolutely crazy. But before we do, just... Okay, at least one crazy person, that's good, okay. When we do ask questions, there are two microphones that you can see sort of here in the middle there. They've got lovely little lights on them, so you get your own moment in the spotlight. Please, please, please stand close and speak into the microphone. Don't stand like at the edge of the circle and try and project, because no one will hear you. So if you could get as close as you want, but don't eat them. Okay, and if you then ask your question, then I'm sure our panelists will answer it for you. So we are moments away from our Grand Theft Auto 5 panel. I want you to one more time, but I want you to really give it some gusto. Let's really take this roof off. One more time. Grand Theft Auto 5 panel! Awesome. Oh, that's... Oh.
Shut the fuck up.
Right, okay, I lost my microphone. It's like the game started. Let's do it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's do it. Let's have our Grand Theft Auto 5 panel. Let's go! Ladies and gentlemen, let's bring out our team.
I got some rhythm going here. Feel it out. Is that how they do it? Alright, so I know you want all this hot. Hey, everybody get your motherfucking asses up. Come on, man. Stand up. Stand up, y'all. Come on. Get up. Come on. Come on. Get up. Get up. Boy, bring your hands side to side like this. Yeah, I'm gonna show you how to dance and see. There's some serious white man's disease up on that stage right now.
Intense.
So, welcome, gentlemen. That's what I call an introduction, eh? That's awesome.
Peter O'Toole said it's all about entrances and accents.
It's a shame we can't back them in still, isn't it? 4.5 years later.
It is incredible that 4.5 years later that GTA 5 is still selling many, many copies. To date, I believe it's sold over 90 million units worldwide.
Is a unit, 1 unit's a game?
Yeah, so 90 million games.
I'm still learning. This is the best time for me to learn about the video game and the world is when we do these things. I'm like, really? That's what happens?
If we can take you back for like 4 years to when you first started this game, you didn't know what it was at this point. Did you ever anticipate when you were doing all those hours in the mocap that it would be this massive?
I can't even understand a fucking word you're saying.
Me neither. I can't hear nothing up here.
Oh, it's because of the...
Alright, say it again. What?
Oh, it's because it all goes this way, the sound.
Everything's going this way.
Did you anticipate that it would be as big a game as it is now?
I anticipated it because it's Grand Theft Auto. You know what I'm saying? Come on, y'all. Y'all know GTA, San Andreas, Rockstar, man. You know they do what they do when it comes to this shit. Y'all know that.
I knew it was going to be big the first time Steven passed gas up on the studio there. That's when I knew it was going to be big.
Hey, y'all look at Steven's socks, man. Look at this dude, man.
It's a skateboard company. And I don't ride skateboards either. I think, you know, when I think we first started, certainly, well, because Solo knew the GTA world and had been in the GTA world, and his cousin was in the GTA world. Ned
Melee, CJ.
So they were familiar with it. Ned knew what it was, because even we weren't told what the project was. So once we got there, we saw GTA on the wall, and so these two were stoked. We must be in 5. Fucking, this is what we're doing here. We're in 5. And I was like, 5 what? Fucking 5th, man. Fucking GTA 5 is gonna be fucking huge. And I was I was clueless, but I think they caught on sooner because they were familiar with the world.
We usually caught on to pretty much everything sooner.
Yes, I was the last to catch on. I'm still trying to catch on.
And how long was it before you actually saw the kind of initial artwork for your characters?
4 years? When did we first saw it actually at the concert, the Tangerine Dream. No, when we saw us as our characters for the first time. Wasn't that at that Tangerine Dream thing?
Finished, yeah.
A finished character.
4 years.
Tangerine Dream.
Well, we had seen them because we got to play a little bit of it, like, you know, when we were making it, we would see our little avatars or whatever.
I hated when we called it that. They used to.
Well, they started off as little stick men, like little hangmans. That's how they started with us at first. And then they started merging into this little silhouette of these, like, alien-looking kind of men. But at first, when they first turned us, we started working on this, it wasn't nothing to do with Grand Theft Auto. They tricked us. They tricked us all. We just was like, fuck, we just doing some video game work. And
sneaky fuckers, those Rockstar guys.
Tricky little buggers. But it was long enough, like we filmed it long enough so that, because for anyone who doesn't know, the motion capture, you know, you're in a motion capture suit and basically shooting it, not as big as this, but it's a huge warehouse with cameras around, and we would have a screen so you could see your environment and your avatar on the screen. So we shot long enough that from when we started, it was a rough animated, you know, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor up on the screen. By the time we finished, you could see our mouths and our fingers moving in real time as our characters on the screen.
Yeah.
So that's how long it took. The technology within 5 years grew that much.
Yeah, because the technology evolved. As we were shooting it, the technology evolved. When we started out, we were on the, what do they call it, the old generation or whatever it was. And as it moved in, we shut down, actually shut down for a while. And they brought in all new cameras and all new stuff. And we came in and they were like, oh, I remember Boy Wonder going, Dad, when you see this shit, you're going to love it, man. It's going to be so awesome. And it was, because all of a sudden, it was a completely new world that we were in, right? You could see everything that we were doing up there on that little screen right there. And it was really cool, man.
yeah.
And they put balls on our fingers. We had balls everywhere. We had balls on our fingers, balls on our head.
Those
balls
jokes
on our
never
balls.
got old.
It was just crazy.
And then when I found out it was Grand Theft Auto we were fucking filming, I think, didn't I go and renegotiate? I went and got Johnny Cochran or somebody to renegotiate my contract. Shit, because I knew it was going to be massive, you know. I mean, I know y'all supported it, so I knew it was going to be around the world. So I had to go back in and get $1 more on top of the fucking penny they gave me.
If they're going to make $6 billion out of it, they can at least give you one more peanut, right?
Man, shit, 1 more penny is a whole lot of money if you ask me.
And you're in the mocap suits, not the most comfortable of things I can imagine. What was the most awkward thing to film it in mocap for you from the game?
The most awkward thing in a mocap suit?
Yeah.
Having to go to the bathroom. That was the most awkward thing because we were strapped up, right? We had these belts with these wires and shit all over it. We'd have like wires going around us, hanging out our asses and stuff. And everything was strapped on. And you had to go to the bathroom, there's Velcro hook and go on. You had to take all of this stuff off.
Wow.
Just to take a pee. So we just started peeing all over ourselves, and you know, every once in a while you get shocked, but after you did that, we had to do that. What's that thing called? We had to do beforehand.
Oh, the T-pose.
T-pose.
No, beforehand. We had to remember if we had to do all the different dance.
I thought that was
Talk to your mic, man.
Not the T-pose.
ROM. We had to ROM. It's called.
Oh yeah.
Range of motion. So every time you took off your suit, you had to go through this whole thing again.
Oh, to register yourself in the system to capture the motion. So that's right.
For me, that was the most awkward.
I think the most difficult things were anytime, especially for a game that was so physical, and that you wanted to have a lot of physical contact with each other. With the outfit that you wear, especially with the helmet, which has a camera, and just even that, getting used to a light, and a camera right in your face, and it's kind of the third eye, so you can't look at it, you kind of get cross-eyed a bit, and then just to interact with people. Yeah, it's that. All, like that's literally, and it's even brighter, and it's just staring right in your fucking face. And then the tough part is just interacting, because you can't grab someone else, I know this joke gets old, but you can't grab another person's balls because they can't animate it.
You couldn't even grab your own balls.
God, everybody, look at King Ezekiel in the house.
King Ezekiel.
And so that was the most difficult thing, was just that you couldn't, you know, be physical as you wanted to be, and you couldn't get in someone's fucking face like this.
You had this right here.
Because you had cameras, so you clash. So that was actually just those simple things. It was actually one of the most difficult technical things to learn. You couldn't have just free range to get in someone's face and stuff like that.
So it kind of changes the way you act in the entire project, doesn't it? Because you have to then learn almost a mocap style of acting.
Yeah. A different, you know, you have to get next to someone's face, not in their face, or grab them, you know, wherever there's not a ball. So things like that where you just learn over time doing it, you know.
And how long was each day then? Was it like really intense, long days that you had to do the mocap for? How long were the days that you had to spend in the mocap suits? Yeah.
Man, they were booking us for, we was 21 days of work and then 21 days off. But we was spending pretty much all day damn near from 7 in the morning, pretty much close around to about 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night. Because it was a very tense game that we were doing. They wanted you to do everything on point. You couldn't like skip or mess up in the script, so we were having to do take number 75 and take number 100. So we spent a very, very long time in that suit. You know, when I first started, I was fat when I got in the suit. I was very uncomfortable. I was about 265 pounds in it. So, you know, I was very, very uncomfortable acting in it because you see everything, your fat ass stomach, your big ass, and you worried about people looking at you while you out on the floor performing. So, you know, gradually I started saying, let me get myself together. I started losing weight. I started trying to work out. It took like 3-4 years, but I ended up knocking 270 down to 235 where I started getting comfortable to work in the suit. So, you know, then these guys start helping me out a lot. Steven fucking, no matter what he had on, he was fucking farting the whole fucking time we was there, stinking up the whole fucking studio.
My farts have become legendary.
Your farts are legendary, man.
They really are.
And then he always wanted to walk around naked with his little drawers on, his little...
Never naked, I was always in my... I used to do this thing at the end of the day. I used to like cheerleader socks, like the long ones that came up to here. So I'd wear these pink, long cheerleader socks and pink underwear. And at the end of the day, I would just do a lap. Once I took off my motion capture suit, I'd just run around in my underwear and socks.
Yeah, and then he would go to the train like that too and ride the train home.
Nice. I'm surprised. I'm surprised there's not like a surprised there's not like a character skin of that in the game somewhere that people can unlock as a joke from Rockstar. You never know.
Probably is. Never know.
And what is your favourite part about your characters, do you think? What's the part that you enjoyed the most when you were playing them? In both mocap and in the voiceovers? Yes.
Well, my favorite part of the character, if you know Franklin, he started from nothing, come from the hood, and he got adopted by the Michael character, you know, because he been fucking up all his life and not getting nowhere fucking up, stealing cars for Simeon and gang banging, taking chances to go to jail, get killed, and all of a sudden he just trying to pull away from the gang life to get a better life, but his better life was to just do more fucked up shit, but with a more sophisticated guy, which is like a mafia type of guy like Michael. So that was like the best part of my character, to watch him come from doing low budget bullshit to high budget bullshit. I don't know if y'all get what I'm talking about. He was a gang banger shooting at his own people, then he all of a sudden started robbing banks and shit, getting millions of dollars. So that character was real interesting to me.
For me, it's probably, you know, the character was just very impulsive, Trevor. So that was fun to just have that ability to be as impulsive as one wanted to be. Play with that.
Yeah, my thing about my character that I liked was that trying to find something that from my life that I could transfer into him, because obviously I wasn't a bank robber. I don't think. If I was, I'd have more money. But what I liked about it was that he was retired, and then he was pulled back into the life, you know, because it was like he was compulsed to do it, because that kind of mirrored my life with the acting thing, because I was kind of out of acting for a while, and then I came back into it, and this was like the first audition I had. It was like I was compulsed to come back into acting, so it was really easy for me to draw on that, you know, of being, and this is the only thing I can do is be an actor, you know, and I was able to pull from that into Michael being the only thing he could do is be a bank robber, do bad stuff. He was just compulsed to do that stuff, and I like searching for that compulsion and finding where the mirror is in my life and that character's life, and be able to bring that to that character, which kind of worked. I mean, it was pretty cool for me. It wasn't so cool for my wife, because she said I brought Michael home too much. But she was a yoga teacher anyway, so she could always just, I'm going to go fuck myself. But whatever.
And the game is written by an English production team, but yet it's set in the US. Now, when you get the script, how much of it did you then have to kind of retranslate to make it American, to get the more street elements of the characters actually in there? Because, you know, the British people might not have been able to do that. So how much of it did you have to change and more like bring it to your own, or bring it into its own and give it that character?
Well, for me, I always joke that it was like I had to learn a new language, English, because I didn't understand that stuff very much. So it was just like make it fit my character, make it fit me being from the Midwest, which is where Michael's from, you know, and just finding that flow, that rhythm and everything. It was much more difficult, I think, for Solo than it was for us, because Solo's far from you know, British.
Yeah, mine was real different, you know, because I'm getting scripts written for me from, you know, the British guys that are sitting over writing, which are great writers. But I had to get it, read it, and then translate from saying mate and, you know, lad to motherfucker and my nigga. You know what I'm saying? So it was hard for me to like try to figure out this. When we first started, they wanted me to stay pretty much on the script. So I had to start saying, nah, man, I gotta translate this shit and be me. You know, I'm a black man from the ghetto, from the hood, and that's what y'all portraying Franklin, Lamar, and them as. So let me be me. You know, so they started letting me kind of take it and rewrite it to how it'll come out to be how I would truly say it for me being from the hood. So it was real difficult at first trying to, you know, translate from what they were writing to what I would actually say. You know, so because when y'all play it, man, y'all playing with me. I'm taking y'all in a ride into the hoods of the black community, you know, because I'm probably 99.9% of the people in here are not from the black communities in the hoods. You know what I'm saying? So
Who's from Watts?
Ain't nobody in here from Watts. I know they not, because we were in London, you know. But it was real difficult for me. I know for me, man, I don't know how to speak, you know, no other language but my nigga. What's cracking? What's happening? You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how Steven took it, but he seemed like he was pretty easy with it. Steven, the Trevor character, was pretty like right on. He can fall right into it. So
It was also, I think, the Britishisms for me, because my mother is British, and I, you know, spent a lot of time here. A lot of the expressions I never questioned, because there were things I had heard or knew of. So it was easier for me because being half British.
I think that fit your character better too, because you know, Trevor was so unhinged and everything that when you would have these like British, I don't know what they call them, colloquialisms or whatever, coming from your mouth while you're, you know, smashing it, Johnny on its head. It's
kind of interesting.
Somehow that kind of fit. You know?
The dichotomy too, I liked using some of those words with someone who didn't seem like they would say that. Provided an interesting another layer for the character that was interesting.
So you kind of added your own kind of colloquialisms then. Were all of you able to add Are the bits to the characters then that maybe weren't in the script? Are the lines or the phrases that necessarily weren't there?
That weren't there?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of them that weren't there. I don't think those guys wrote fucking A Bubba, which became a kind of a line. But yeah, there was a lot of it. The Nama Go Fuck Yourself was, you know, an ad lib. I mean, there was a lot. But look, these guys, you gotta understand, these guys from Rockstar that write this thing, Rupert and Dan and all, they're unbelievably talented. I mean, you're talking about a 3,500-page script. These guys are prolific, and the best thing about it is that they're ego-free. They want the game to be the best that it can be. So if you bring something to it, they'll listen and they'll let it follow and let it track and see where it goes. And it might not go where let's say I ad-libbed something. It might not go where I wanted to, but it might trigger something in them that takes us all where we want it to go, if that makes sense, you know. So we had a lot of freedom on the set, a lot of freedom, and it was really appreciated because from an artist standpoint, did you see that? I just said artist. So artsy fartsy. From an artist standpoint, it was really cool that you know, to have that freedom, because that's an actor's dream, is to be able to create, if that's what you want to do.
But then I found out that at the end of it, that me and Slink, who played Lamar, just our shit alone, I was told they had to take out fucking 15,000 niggas that me and him was fucking saying, because we went fucking crazy. But that's just how we talk. We don't mean it in a racist way or nothing like that. It's just how we grew up. My nigga, my homie, my dog. You know what I'm saying? That's just how we communicate with each other. So they came and told us they had to take out that many NIGG words and fuck words and cuss words that me and him was translating, and had us go back in and clean it up a little bit.
Yeah, that was the craziest thing that surprised the hell out of me. Is it wasn't usually until, you know, it wasn't the motion capture, but when you went in to do the car dialogue or pickup lines, and we did a whole session of, there was only a certain number of fucks you could say. I was like, really? We're killing people, we're doing this, and someone's worried about having too many fuck words in this? But it was true, and the C word, which I personally love, and Americans have a different reaction to it, but in England, I know I've been spending too much time here. When I go back to America and I drop the C word just like you say bitch, and over there it does not fly in America, but I love the word. But even that word, there were certain numbers, and so we had to go in and actually do alternate reads for some of the, like, go fuck yourself. They wanted, oh, we've had too many, so you gotta say, you know, go get lost.
Kiss my ass.
Yeah, and you just do, I would always do the reading as poorly as possible so that they couldn't use it. I would just completely make it so terrible.
In the booth going, and the director would be going, come on, can you give me a little bit more of this? I said, right, I'm sorry, man, it just doesn't flow, man. I don't feel the flow without the fuck. I gotta have the fucking flow, otherwise it ain't gonna work, man.
You could see your character's face, and they'd play back, and you'd see them all angry, and then you'd just go like, go get lost. And it just wouldn't match up, so. Actor tricks.
Well, we've got a nice group of people out there who would love to ask you some questions. So we're going to open the mic to them. If you want to stand behind the mic and ask your questions, we'll keep.
And let's set up initially, there will be no cursing. Do not ask us to go say fuck yourself. That way we can just get through the questions.
Okay, go sit down. You're going to do that, I know.
So we've got, we'll start with this side here, and this gentleman, because he was the first one up. So there we go.
Oh, look at the light comes on. Nice.
Okay, can you hear me?
Perfect. Yes.
Yep.
I follow a subreddit called Chiliad Mystery, and I was wondering, can you confirm or deny that the mystery has been found, or it's still waiting to be found?
Really? You're going to ask me about the Mount Chiliad Mystery?
Yes.
All right.
What is the Mount Chiliad Mystery, for those of us who don't know?
We're going to solve this, okay?
I don't know what it is.
It's the mystery at the top of the mountain right now. All right, so everybody get out your notepads.
Still don't know.
Here's how you solve the Mount Chiliad Mystery. You go down to Del Perro Pier. You swim out 35 miles. You dive down 78 feet. Not 77, not 79. 78 feet. There you'll find the answer.
See, my girlfriend's just recorded that because I'm not like that.
Thanks, man.
And make sure you record when you're doing that.
Well, what is the difficult thing when you were recording GTA 5, whether it was voice acting or staring at lenses that stares at you goddamn slow?
What difficulties did you have recording?
Like recording voice lines or staring at the camera, whatever. What's the most difficult thing when you were recording GTA 5?
The most difficult thing to do?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, probably 80% of it was motion capture. So this stuff, I guess, the stuff in the booth is probably hard because you have nothing to work against, you know. And those are just usually stuff in the car or whatever.
Well, the most difficult part of it was, I think, for the whole lot of us was we have to imagine everything that we were doing in there. If they say you're sitting in a car, they actually set a crate down, and you have to really act like you in a car and close the door. And it's none of this here. It's just a crate you're sitting on, a big long pole with a steering wheel on it and a beanbag. So you have to imagine that you're in a car, actually driving, and got your hand out the window talking to someone. So just imagining that was like real hard for me. You know, just imagining everything, the setup, the houses. And they built everything like real good. You know, they built the front doors, the couches, the sofas.
But out of bars and tape. So it's not like doing a film or television show where you're in that environment. With motion capture, you really have to commit to where you are.
Yeah, and you got to be precise too. Like we're driving around, right? And we're coming up, we hit the brakes. Then we're coming, we hit the brakes. You know, you got to hit the brakes.
Everybody
got to hit the brakes.
Everyone's got to do that.
If you're in a crash,
It's actually the most difficult is that. Everyone getting that together.
Yeah, boom, you hit the brakes.
Hold on, we did it wrong.
No, Steve, just tap the brakes, okay? Don't slam on them.
Little things like that you wouldn't even imagine become.
It's literally that tight. You know, so when you have a big crash or whatever, you know, you're banged around in the deal, you know, and you gotta make it look like you get banged around in the deal. So that was hard. But for me, the booth stuff was the hardest because you're in there for 4 hours and you're on fire, you're falling out of a building, you're screaming, you're hollering, and physically, just from a voice standpoint, that was the hardest for me because you come out of there and you'd be like this, but at the end of it, can we get just one more take? Yeah, I got one more for you.
It was 4 hours, yeah, screaming usually and dying, and yeah, that's right. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
How much input did you have of the characteristics of your characters?
Ultimately, it was our bodies. So, I mean, as far as like the walk and all that, 100% input. I mean, you know, as far as the characteristics of it, you know, that's what an actor brings to a role. So I think I would say 100% input into it.
Yeah, pretty much 100%. You know, because it's our walk, our run, our talk, our blinks, our expressions we make, you know, our shoulders, whatever we do is pretty much all of us. So, I mean, they gave us free will to do whatever we wanted. They just wanted to get the lines right, you know, and the marks right.
Thanks, man.
Hi. If for whatever crazy set of circumstances you three in real life were to enter a fist fight, who do you each think would win?
we were just talking about that earlier.
But not in real life.
In real life?
Our characters or in real life?
In real life.
I would just run because I don't like to fight. So.
In the characters?
I would run.
I think Trevor will win in character life. In real life?
Thank you.
Yeah, definitely so. Thank you.
I'd just shoot his ass.
Hiya, assuming you've played the game, what's the craziest thing you've ever done with your character? And also, have you played online and pranked anyone with your voice?
That would try to be my answer, I suppose. Craziest thing I've done, well, you know, I like to get the 5-star wanted level if I can, see if I can get away, which I never have, and that's my goal in life, is to escape the 5-star wanted level. But as far as pranking guys, I play online, and my favorite thing that I've ever done online, you got those spawn camper motherfuckers, right? Those guys who sit there, you come alive and they shoot you, you come alive and they shoot you, you come alive and they shoot you. So I got one guy that was screwing with me, big time, and I put a hit out on him. I went to Twitter and I tweeted out the guy's gamer tag, and I said, everybody out there on Twitter, I want you to go out and get this guy and shoot him. And he sent me a message that said, please call him off. I was getting killed every 2 seconds. I can't even play the game anymore. I said, don't fuck with Michael. And that was it. So that was my favorite thing that I did. And that would knock off the bank, you know, pick a guy up on the street, go rob a liquor store, and they just give him the car, you know, or something. Hey, you know. So you played online.
Yeah, I played online with them, and you know, at first they don't believe it's you. You know, they like, nah, it's not you. Until you say, go to my Twitter page or my Instagram page so I can validate that that's truly me. But then they come back and they fucking always friend requesting me to do all kind of crazy shit. So I stopped playing. Because, shit, I can't be chasing nobody around in a fucking video game, man, like that. I don't know how to do it. Ned plays online more than anybody that I know in the world.
And no, I'm not giving you my gamer tag.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Thank you.
So when you started working on GTA 5, did you have a feeling that people would come up to you and not even call you by your real name? They'd be like, hey, Trevor, what's up? Or Franklin, what's up?
All the time, bro. If you're a GTA fan and you see me, it's hard for them to say, hey, what's up, Shawn? What's up, Solo? You know, it's always, Franklin, what's up, my nigga? Or my N-word, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it's common. Because Steven just was talking about that. I mean, we were somewhere and somebody said, Trevor, and he like, no, Steven.
You know, I'll tell you how bad it is, you know, my son, Bubba, plays baseball, and these other teams that we'll be playing try to get in his head by calling him Jimmy. He'll be up the bat and they'll go, Jimmy! Jimmy! Like that. And then finally we just turn it around on him and everybody calls him Jimmy when he's playing baseball now. So that's how bad it is, yes.
Thanks, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah. What was the initial reaction to your characters, like Trevor being the insane bastard that he is?
I mean, it's fun. I mean, he's the impulsive, crazy character. So to have that opportunity to play a character like that was great. It was like, wow, this is challenging but fun to be that kind of lunatic. You know, it was great. A lot of fun.
He said, what was it like? Do it again. What was it?
What was the initial reaction to who your characters were?
Well,
like.
Oh, okay. Well, mine was, I was kind of upset at first because when they first had started filming it and started recording the game, I thought that I was going to be, Franklin was going to be a fucking crazy fool like how Trevor and Lamar is. But every time I try to go back against Trevor in the game, they'd come and stop. Like, no, you can't act tough back with Trevor in the game because Trevor is psycho and crazy. And I come from where if you bark at me, I bark fucking back and try to bark louder. But they kind of toned Franklin down. And I got a lot of like flack about it. Like, why Franklin kind of like a punk in the game? So that was like the roughest part with me is playing like, not a punk, but I had to bow down to, you know, Trevor.
I forgot about that, because that's true. I remember initially it was like your character seemed to be quite soft and like passive, and it's like, why is this character not reacting to anything? But, you know, they knew the whole story, which we didn't we weren't privy to.
My personal reaction was at the time of the audition. When my agent called, I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do a video game. What the hell am I going to run through? And they said, well, let me send you the material. And as soon as I saw the material, that was my first reaction, was from not wanting to do a video game to, ain't anybody else doing this game but me, because it was so awesome. So I was really stoked. My initial reaction was, I got to play this guy. It was really, really cool stuff.
Thanks,
man.
We're all.
Hey guys. I was going to ask you, what was your favorite thing, all three of you, when you did motion capture?
Favorite thing doing motion capture? Like actually, while doing motion capture?
I mean, like, what was the funniest thing all three of you had to do together?
Fence work? When we all did the big one.
Yeah, the big one was
because there were so many of us involved with it. So a lot of times we would work two with another group. The big heist was, I think, where we had almost all of us in one room, and it was very complex, the layout, and we had to go from one room to another. And I think that was probably the coolest, just because it was almost cinematic in its scope, and we went.
Yeah, because it's all very, very technical. The mocap stuff is all really technical, but within that technicality, you're able to cut loose at the same time. So that was a good one. The other one that I loved was where I smashed Jimmy's TV. That was one of my favorite things that I did because, first of all, I got to be with Danny, who's just a great kid, man. He's such a funny guy, and it was great because he was calling the guy a hermaphrodite dude, and I was cracking up, and his smashing thing was just an extreme. That's all it is. It was and taking his chair and just slamming it into it over and over and over again. That was fun because I wanted to see how it was going to turn out. Because it was tough to picture in your mind. And
meeting you guys for the first time was fun too. When I came back, when we met, I came back to your place with Vicky.
Yes,
remember Vicky?
Vicky Van Tassel, who played Amanda, my wife. She was brilliant.
Vicky Van Tassel, actual name.
Yes, VVT. And shout out, but that was a really fun scene too, because when Trevor first reappeared, and because there was a lot of tension in this.
Yeah, because we had our history.
Yeah, that was fun. Oh man, this stuff takes you back, man. There was a lot of fun stuff. Ask some more questions, because we're on a memory trip here.
Were there any scenes in the game that were improvised? For the friends at Franklin's house was actually improvised.
But it wasn't really. I think I lie a lot during interviews, and especially during press things. I like to just make things up. There might have been a little bit in it, but the reason why a lot of times you couldn't improvise or make things up in the motion capture world is because we have very expensive equipment on us. Break. And you have to be aware of what you're doing. And plus, falling over, that was actually going back to what was the most difficult stuff. I'd have to say falling. Even just falling down. Like, we had pads and stuff, but because you have these fucking solid, the balls were solid, like hard, and you wore them. And so when you fell, even onto a mat, those things would just,
yeah, it did tickle.
It was horrible. They'd dig into you if you had to lie on them.
Well, right, and then the other thing is you've got on all this electronic equipment strapped to your waist. We wore fanny packs the whole time we shot, and when you had to crash, right? We had stuff going up the back and everything. You had to fall or wrestle or whatever. You had to do so in a way that you didn't
smash it,
wreck the equipment, because if the sound equipment went out, which was on your waist, then it was like a cluster. It was just you
need to wait for hours. So there was
way back.
You couldn't really. That's why that was not really improvised. It was like an idea of but can I fall? Do we have to get a mat? We have to do a mat. We have to watch the things. So it was sort of an idea that then turned into this sort of legend of I said at one point, improv. Thank you.
Guys. Welcome to London.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'd just like to ask, so obviously we all love the game, love the story, characters, but we've always wanted to see another expansion to the game where we see you guys, story mode. It seems the focus has just been, in these 4.5 years, has been the online mode. So I just want to ask, on your part, has there ever been a push to, do some more content for the game?
Have we pushed to do more content?
That's right, yeah.
No, I mean, we don't really, you can't really push. Rockstar's going to do what Rockstar does. If they want more content, they'll bring more content. there's a lot of people in this crowd. Y'all should be DMing them if you want it. You know what I'm saying? So the answer is no. I don't push for it, and I'm sure Steven and Solo don't really push for it. Rockstar is, you know, they're a very successful company for a reason. They do what they do.
But I'm still ready to do DLC, so I think we all are. So Rockstar, if you hear me.
Does anybody want DLC? I mean, does anybody even want it? That wasn't very many.
Even after 4.5 years, I'm still fucking ready, and I think y'all are ready too, still for the expansion of the DLC. Thank you, my man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What were your favourite parts of making GTA 5?
I always say, I mean, like with anything, it's like when, you know, if people ask what are your favorite parts about working on a certain show, I think the best part of GTA is just this, like we've got, you know, we all met, so I think these projects, some of the best things are the relationships you get, not necessarily the scenes or, it's like, hey, we all get to meet. It's cool.
I agree with what you said. You know, it's the relationship and the bond that we made through GTA 5. You know, I met a lot of people that I never would have met in my life. You know, I met Steven, Ned, the directors, the owners, you know, a few other people, because I commuted back and forth from Los Angeles to New York. So I lived bi-coastal for, what, 4.5 years. So I met a lot of people and did a lot of things I thought I would never do in my life, you know. I mean, who would ever think you'll wake up and be in fucking Grand Theft Auto 5 and working in New York on it in a mocap suit? I didn't. So that was one of the best parts of it. With just that experience alone, I can take that with me, you know, even when I'm old. God, you know, permit me to do that, but be old, I still got that memory that I did do something that was amazing, you know.
Well, yeah, I think that you know, doing the game itself was fantastic. It was awesome and everything. But the best part, without question, there's a lot of people that don't get credit. You know, we're up here at a Comic-Con in London, but the crew, the guys who actually made the game, they're not sitting here. And they're the stars because they made an unbelievable game. And the best part of it is that they were unbelievable people. They were so much fun. We never went to a set with a bad attitude because we knew when we got there we were going to have great people greeting us and you know, making sure that we did well and taking care of us. And then the supporting cast that we had in this game, unbelievable. Not one person that we worked, well, one that we worked with was an asshole. Everybody was so cool that we worked with on that thing. And you know, and the one who wasn't Steve. So that's good. But it was awesome, man. It was just, that was the best part of the game, period. End of. It's just the relationships and the fun that we had making. I love you, Steve.
Yeah. My man.
Thanks, man.
Hey, so you're coming from Gtamen yesterday, and here I am. It's great to see you.
There you are. I know you're here.
What up, bro?
Just thinking, with the content question that came before me, how about you guys actually start off with Grand Theft Auto 6, and you go to 3 different corners of America, and you actually start your own cruise?
Can you repeat that for us?
So, you'd start Grand Theft Auto 6, and you'd be in 3 different crews, so you'd be in 3 different corners of the country, and you'd be starting you know, your own teams. So you get to see different parts of the American culture.
Okay, so you're in Grand Theft Auto 6. What would you guys think about the game starting off in 3 different corners of the country with each of you running your own 3 different crews? That way we get to see more of a picture of the US. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool. It's a cool idea.
You're thinking that's what's going to happen in 6?
That's what I think, so that's why I think the content's not being talked about.
Well, DM Rockstar, they're at Rockstar Games, and let them know that that's what you want to have happen. And I'm sure they'll fucking listen because they want to make a map of the whole country too, I'm sure. I think that would be awesome, man. Could you imagine being able to go anywhere you wanted to go in the country? That would be awesome.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. So, obviously working for like, was it 21 days, you said, like at a time, or like all that time, like all day. Do you ever get stuck in character, or like if you go on like breaks or something, like bounce off each other, or just like start I don't know, bringing out your character, or I don't know, bringing it home.
You mean like when we're in between scenes?
Yeah.
Get stuck in character? Steven did. There was a sheep, I think.
Yeah, I think with me, it was, they pretty much let me be me. It's who I am. If me and you hung out right now and just went out for a burger or something, you would see that that was just me. You know, with a lot of less niggas and motherfuckers, but it's just me. So they let me be me, you know what I mean? I don't know how Steven feels. I think Trevor, he's another kind of guy, man. He really stole the show for me, man, for real.
I think the only time that it would, like sometimes going back at the end of a long day, if we didn't have the car and I'd take the train or something like that, and then I'd end up in Penn Station in New York and Manhattan, and then take the metro back home. And after spending, if it was a particular day of a lot of anger and violence and doing whatever, and if you got into Penn Station at rush hour, you'd sometimes feel like little twitches and impulses to just reach out and fucking touch someone. And not in a nice way. That was the only thing. It never led to that, but you certainly, if that was in your muscles all day, that was sometimes I'd feel that, you know, that want, because you've just been so up all day that, but nothing led to it.
Worse than after a day of work coming into a crowded train station. Thanks, buddy. How about you, buddy?
Anyway, guys. So, are you guys worried that you might get stuck playing the same characters in future productions? Like, Steven get stuck playing a psychotic lunatic, for example. Let me get all of them.
Well, I ain't got no other choice, man. Everything I've done was from rap to the few little movies that I did, which was The Wash and 3 Strikes with Dr. Dre and Snoop and them. I was always being me. It was just a dude from the hood. I can't get it to like acting different. So every time I had something I had to do, as far as in the entertainment, filming, or music, it was always just being who I am. So I was like happy when I get those type of jobs, you know. Now Steven and Ned, they completely, and they always get on me for saying this, but they actors, man. They can fall out, fall in, they can be whatever, you know what I mean?
See the difference between real life and pretend. Okay, go ahead.
If you were killing people, how would they stay alive then?
That's fucking deep, dude. Super meta. That's like meta. You know what meta is? If we were killing people, how would they stay alive?
If it was in real life.
I know.
Okay.
Whereas, if we're killing people, you're talking about in the game, right? Killing people, how would they stay alive? They go to the hospital, and then they do what's called respawning. And they come out, all of a sudden, they're back. That's how they do it, man. I did it. If you see on my Twitter, you can see where I came out of the hospital in real life. Respawned.
Oh, they get respawned. So it's
they
like
respawn. That's how we keep them alive.
A rebirth.
Plus, it's all
How old are you? How old are you? How old are you?
7.
Cool. Where are you from?
England.
Yeah. Everyone wants to be a smart ass.
Now, where's this guy's mom and dad? I want to know. Where's mom and dad?
I love the boots too, man.
Where are mom and dad?
What part of England? From London?
Woolwich.
Woolwich? Where's that? North? South?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Well, you look very cool, man. You look really cool in that leather jacket.
I think we found our GTA 6 star right here.
Sure is. When he's old enough to be in it, that's probably when it'll be out.
You can hang out if you want. I don't know if we have time for one more question. Do we have time for one more? Yeah, let's go.
Right, help it back down.
Do you want to hang or you want to go back? You can hang here if you want.
Here? You can stay.
Okay.
Sit right up on top.
All right.
This is the son I always wanted right here.
So my question is, from a lot of our perspectives, we see that you get along quite well in real life. How was it to suddenly change characters to dislike each other when you were playing your characters in the game?
Say it again.
How was it? We all get along, and we all get along.
Yeah.
So how was it to not get along when working?
I wanted to say this. We didn't actually get along that good while we were working. We sitting up here lying to y'all about we got along real good. Nah, but for real, we just fought. We had our little bumps and, you know, here and there like brothers do, you know, and then we get back and we be back cool. So we got along on set and we got along off set because all of us have family, kids, and we bragged about our kids more than anything on set. I mean, Steven will walk in and he would show pictures of his son. Ned would walk in and show pictures of his son and his accomplishments, and I would do the same thing. So that's what kind of kept us all in tune with each other, that we all were family men, you know, so we got along real good as that part.
And also the biggest thing too, because of that point, it's easier. It's like when people ask, like with The Walking Dead, you know, when you get along so well, when you trust each other, you can take bigger risks as an actor. You can usually go further because you know I'm not going to hurt your feelings. So if I want to get in your fucking face, or whatever I want to do, it's easier. When you're open and vulnerable and trusting, it betters the game. The performance becomes better. So it becomes easier the more you get along. When you don't get along with someone, that's when it can be unsafe. It can be, and that can go for, like, you know, when you're you're supposed to be happy with someone. If you hate them, it's tougher. It really is. So the more you respect each other, the easier that becomes.
Well, it's a lot like family though too. It's almost like I come from a family of 5 kids, and I mean, my brothers and I would literally throw hands. We would throw hands, but at the end of the day, we could throw hands, and 5 minutes later, if somebody came at us, I know that my brothers would have my back big time. And that's how these guys are. You know, that's how we are. And I think that's why we did what we did and had as much success as we did, is because, you know, there's full on trust. You got your back. I got his, he's got mine. He's got mine, I got his. And that's how, and I got this little dude's back too. So if I mess with you, all right? I'll stick these 2 guys on, because I'm over. Okay? Thank you very much for that question.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is such a good sport. For my friends at Tokyo Tour.
Do you like candy, Alex? Would you like some candy? Yeah? Little boy wants some candy?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for our panelists today. And of course, Alex! Thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate it.
Ooh, a like on this video, or I cut your arm off with a spoon or a fork.